how much kidnappers are taking from victims.
My thing is, government should, all the stakeholders should get that, and I think we get that. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
So it is support that is needed. And once you get the support, your energy will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning. This is Inside Nigeria, reaching on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Uboko, and I'll be your host today on today's program. With me in the studio is a public affairs analyst, a syndicated columnist, and of course a TV host. His name is Mr. Jide Ojo. Mr. Jide Ojo, but I can't tell you enough. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. You know that.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be doing this with you every Wednesday. Let's hope we make the desired impact.
Yes. And we have newspapers for review this morning on our menu. Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. We have National Economic Sister Publication, Daily Sun, and THISDAY newspaper. We are flagging up with our staple, Leadership newspaper. Let's have leadership on our screen. It says 2023 presidency, how God's sons allies will work for against him. 2023 presidency, how God's sons allies will work for and against him. APC national leaders' declaration sparks intense debate. Like Tinubu, Umahi informs President Muhammad Buhari of his intention to run, says he heard from God. Kalu gives conditions for joining the race. All these are on the leadership headline story this morning. And of course, underneath the story are pictures of Tinubu's godsons. We have Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, former governor of Lagos State, Raj Fashola. We have Fayemi, the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum. We have Gagabianla, Speaker of the House of Representatives. Ganduje, governor of Kano State. We have Lai Mohammed. We have Minister of Information and Communication. We have Faleke, Honorable Faleke, who is in the House of Representatives. We have Minister of Interior, Aregoshola. We have Oyetola, Governor of Osun State. We also have Senate President Lawa. These ones are godsons of Tinubu. And you know, Tinubu declared his intention to contest for 2023 presidency yesterday. So, we want to look at each of the godsons. What do you have to say? Because it's also alleged that Osinbajo, Vice President Osinbajo, also has his nursing presidential ambition. What do you have to say? But will he work for Tinubu or against Tinubu?
Well, you are making me to play the Nostradamus, the man who knows to come. What I do know is that ambition is free. Everybody can aspire, even yourself. If you pick the membership card of a party, at least from what I can see of your age, you are older than 35. So once you are 35 and above, you can contest. So ambition, contesting is free. But what I think is the issue is about loyalty and about being a preferred choice. Tinubu's ambition comes with some baggage. And I've been on several media platforms since Monday to discuss it. Part of their baggage is being a Muslim. Will Nigerians want to vote for another Muslim president in 2020? If you look at the way pendulum has been swinging since 1999, for Obasanjo, who is a Christian from the south, 8 years, power went to the north. Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, Muslim northerner, doing some 3 years. Then power came to the south again. Who was Goodluck Jonathan, Christian Southerner, 5 years. Then 8 years of Buhari presidency, Muslim Northerner. Now, if the power shifts to the southwest and Tinubu becomes the next president, that means we are having Muslim back to back. But that is not even much of a baggage as his health issue. And people are saying, is he fit and in perfect health to run for the presidency? Somebody said jokingly on social media that Aso Rock is not old people's home because that's what they are turning into. We had the Goodluck Jonathan, who was, I think, in the late 50s when he became the. So, and you asked me to talk about Osinbajo.
Yes.
Osinbajo is in his early 60s. Maybe he was 60, 61 or 62.
Yes.
Now, apart from that, he's very youthful. He's not known to have any health issue.
Yes.
At least we have not been told that the vice president has gone for any medical tourism. But compare that to Tinubu, who for some weeks was in UK to see his doctors, and even the president after visiting. Many of his political loyalists also went there to see him, wish him speedy recovery. So, if I was to choose between Tinubu and Osinbajo, I would choose Osinbajo. But I don't even support either of the two. That's my own personal opinion. I'm not supporting either of the two. But if I'm asked between Tinubu and Osinbajo, who would you support? I would support Osinbajo. Because Osinbajo does not come with any baggage. Health-wise, he doesn't have. He's highly cerebral. He's very educated, professor of law. Apart from being a professor of law, he's also a Christian cleric, senior pastor in a Pentecostal church. He's also experienced. It will just be like Joe Biden.
Okay.
You know, Joe Biden did 8 years as vice president under Barack Obama, and now he's a president. That counts for something. The last time Bola Tinubu held office was way back in 2007, and that's 14, 15 years ago. So, if you are looking at somebody who has the contemporary skill to deal with contemporary problems, I think Osinbajo, having seen it under Buhari, and in his acting presidency, the period that he was allowed to act, he demonstrated grit and panache to govern. In fact, much of the peace that we experienced in Niger Delta region was as a result of his diplomatic shuttle to discuss. You know, there was a time Niger Delta Avenger and all of that were trying to say they will go back to Creeks, and he was there, pleaded with them and assured them that the president will do something about the plight of the Niger Deltas. So that's my own personal opinion. But like I said, all of these are eminently qualified in their own respect. Even I've had rumors that finally want to be.
That's what we are looking at, because these pictures are supposed to be pictures of Tinubu's godsons. Now, because of their own presidential ambition, do you think, and there are speculations or allegations that these godsons, supposed godsons, don't really see eye to eye any longer with Tinubu? So, in your view, do you think these ones they are going to work? Like, let's look at Fashola. You just gave a verdict on Osinbajo, former governor of Lagos State, Fashola.
Well, Fashola, I don't know. I've not heard of any rumor of presidential ambition.
No,
but you know, he fell out of with Tinubu after his first time,
yeah.
just like in the case of Ambode. But I think public opinion was swayed in his favor. So, and we learned that it wasn't even Asiwaju that nominated him for the ministerial position.
Yes.
That was not his nominee. So, I don't know why your newspaper is classifying him as Tinubu's person. I think it was, yes, formerly
He was
chief of
PK.
staff to Tinubu, and he made him governor. But
But
after
yes.
that, I think there's no love lost between the two of them, even though there is no open animosity. But I'm not sure they are very cordial as when he was governor. So, but in case he wants to throw his hat in the ring as well, he is eminently qualified. Fashion, I mean, he's also a senior advocate of Nigeria, a prominent lawyer, a technocrat, a former governor of the Lagos State. You know, Lagos State is like a country.
Yes, yes,
If you put the population of Lagos State together, it's like a Benin Republic or Togo Republic, Togo, or even some other countries in Africa. So I mean, he demonstrated a lot of willpower and wisdom in the administration of Lagos. In fact, infrastructure-wise, he achieved a lot more than Tinubu did in his period. So, Fayemi, there is a rumored presidential ambition,
yes.
but he is, I don't know how he wants to do it. He's still a serving governor. His tenure will not end until October, and the election to succeed him is holding in June, June 18. Would the primaries have been held as of that time? I don't know. Will it be fit and proper for him as a sitting governor to go and still contest? Or I mean, these people have their own plans, but Fahimi is a Christian, just like Oshibajo, and you know, he's also eminently qualified. He's been a former governor before returning for his second and final term. He's been a minister. So you recall that he was minister of solid
Yes,
mineral.
yes.
So he's eminently qualified, but I don't know how. And he's currently the chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum, which is also very powerful position. But whether people felt, because there is this animosity against governors by in the public, that they have held the country by, they've held the country hostage by some of their actions, like the issue of asking the president not to sign the electoral amendment bill, and all of that. So, in a sense, but again, it's eminently qualified. Gbadagbe Amila, no rumored presidential ambition. Ganduje, none to my knowledge.
But these ones are, you know, the story.
And I don't know why
They work for-
Ganduje would be regarded as a godson to
No,
Tinubu.
he has been a supporter of Buhari's, Tinubu's presidency, 2023 presidency. So
Well,
you see him working for Tinubu.
even this Jibril, Honorable Abdulmuni Jibril, is from Kano. So, again, that doesn't make him a godson. He's just one of the supporter. Let's go to Lai Mohammed. Lai Mohammed will live and die with Tinubu. It's been everything through the grace of God and through the support of Tinubu. So, and likewise, Faleke is an unrepentant loyalist of Tinubu. Recall that he nearly became the governor of Kogi State, if not for technicalities, because he was
running mates to the
late Abubakar Audu. Unfortunately, when Audu died, you know, there was no fresh well, there was a call for fresh nomination, but the party decided to go for the person who came distant second in the primaries, which was Yahya Bello. And of course, Faleke kicked against it. Faleke is from Kogi State, but he's representing the good people of Ikeja Federal Constituency in Lagos. Again, known ally of Tinubu. Rahul Baragbeshola, Ogbeni Rahul Baragbeshola, former governor of Osun State, is also one of the arch loyalists of.
But there are allegations that there is a fall between both of them.
Well, that may be true to the extent
The
that
governor
of Osun
the
State.
governor that succeeded in Oyetola,
Oyetola
is not
is-
his candidate.
Yes,
cousin.
is Tinubu's cousin. From what we learned from Iragbiji, is Tinubu's cousin, and Aregbesola didn't like the imposition of Oyetola as its successor. So that could have put a wedge between him and Tinubu. But nevertheless, Aregbesola would not work openly against Tinubu. If he has personal feud, it's with Oyetola, and there is no love lost between the predecessor and the successor, as we know in Osun State. And that may actually give opportunity to PDP to win in the July 16 Osako election in the state. But I don't see an Aregbesola going into open confrontation with. They've come a long way. He was Tinubu's Minister of War, Commissioner for Works in Lagos, and Tinubu was very influential in his emergence as the governor of Osun State. Because the fight, they had to go through the judiciary, did a lot of almost 2 years of election petition before he, so you can't forget that very easily. But you know, Oyetola's case may have strained the relationship between the two of them in a sense, but I don't think it will work against. Um, Lawa, I don't know. Which Lawa is this?
But Senate president.
Ahmed Lawa is not Lawa, it's Lawa.
It's Lawa, okay.
If it's the Senate president of the Senate, it's Ahmed Lawa, not Lawa.
Okay.
But Lawan, I don't know how influential Lawan could be. Lawan is from Yobe State, and of course, in 2015, it was rumored that Femi Gbagbabiamila and Ahmed Lawan, president of the Senate, were the preferred candidate of Tinubu. But they lost to Saraki and Dogara at that time. So again, um, yeah, Tinubu will need all the support he could get to win the ticket of because as they said, there will be a lot of litigation against his aspiration. So much more breaking, so much negative media slant. But the man is also smart. He has also built his own media empire. You know, there is Radio Continental, there is TVC, TV Continental, also the Nation newspaper. So he copied that from late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. You know, Obafemi Awolowo, when he was going into full politics, way back in 1949, established Nigerian Tribune to serve as the media organ for Action Group, which was established in 1951, 2 years after he established the newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. I'm sure if radio and TV licenses were commercialized as at that time, maybe Awolowo would have established. So, but like I said, Jagaban of Bogu, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a very smart politician. Even if he could have flattered, he could have flown, he could have done what he did, so that it could be relevant in the policy of 2020. Because it then becomes negotiation or trading. Do you get it? So even if they are going to settle for an Igbo candidate, for instance, you have to go and negotiate with Jagaba. And then you will have to now endorse your candidacy and tell you who to pick as your running mate and all of that. You know, that kind of people do things for different reasons. There are those who have thrown their ass in the ring, you know they can't win. I'm not saying Jagaban cannot win, he can win. But the arguments people are advancing about his age, about some corruption allegations against him, but more importantly, about equity, justice, and fair play. Fair play. I am not in a position to indict him about corruption allegations. Anybody can allege anything, including people who are innocent. But for equity, justice, and fair play, I believe Igbo should be given opportunity in 2023. You know why? Since 1960, we have not had any Igbo person, as president. The best they have had after the ceremonial presidency of late, Owele or Owele of Onitsha, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. The only other person that come close to becoming to be found in the presidency of Nigeria was Dr. Alex Ekweme in 1979 to 1982. So, for equity, justice, and fair play, let's look at it. Assuming that APC and PDP zones power to the south, among the southern brothers, Goodluck Jonathan has done 5 years. He has been everything he could be: deputy governor, acting governor, substantive governor, president, vice president, acting president, substantive president, all in a space of a very short period. From 1999, Goodluck Jonathan has been relevant, both at the state and federal level. Look at Obasanjo, 8 years of presidency. Now we are also having Yemi Osinbajo, 8 years as vice president. So, for equity, justice, and fair play, among the 3 brothers in the south, who has not have a shot at the power? It's the Igbos. And that's why I'm supporting the Igbos to say, let them also have opportunity to produce the next president. This can be negotiated. If they produce the next president, it then still doesn't solve their problems, because none has ever been able to solve the problem of their region. Buhari is there now. It is now that even the northern youth are protesting against his presidency because of insecurity. We recall the other day, was it last week, that youths in Kano were to protest and they were banned and they were dispersed. So, in his home state of Katsina, there have been protests against him because of the activities of bandits. So, if it were to be a southern president, do you think they would not have said, oh, if he were to be from us, the situation would not have been like this? But now, he's the president. Sokoto is going through a lot of banditry. Katsina, his home state, Kaduna, Zamfara, all of these are under serious banditry attack. So, serious bandit attack. So, the same thing with Obasanjo. In his 8 years as president, how much did the Southwest benefit? Whether in infrastructure or any special appointment. I didn't see that. I can't see it. Because despite being the president and the minister of works being from the Southwest, the state of infrastructure in the Southwest was still very appalling.
Initially, during the first term, it was from the minister of works was from Samsung. That's the
Oh, okay. But he changed it for this guy in Lagos, Ogulewe, Adeso Ogulewe, who became his minister of works. I think there was a very short period who was also. So what I'm saying is that it doesn't even matter who is your minister of works or whatever. But what does your presidency do for your people? He didn't do much for the Southwestern.
Even during Jonathan's time, he didn't also.
Even the Jonathan's time, I was in. It's Buhari that just completed the road to his home state, to his hometown. Somebody showed the picture on the Facebook the other day that this is a road leading to Otroke, the hometown of that is Buhari that just did it. He was president for 5 years. He was governor. Remember, he served that he was deputy to Alamesia, served at the turn of Alamesia as acting governor, became then came to the national level in 2007. In fact, in the last 22 years, Goodluck Jonathan has been in the political landscape of Nigeria. But what does his presidency do for the people of South South? The amnesty program was initiated by Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. So what did he bring to the table rather than continuity? Do you get it? So if you the fight between Chibika Amici and Jonathan was over the issue of infrastructure. That how can we in the South produce a good president and we will not benefit? So the same thing will happen to the Igbos. An Igbo president will not run as a sole administrator. You know that for sure. He will work with a vice president. He will work with a national assembly who will not be from his ethnic group. I don't know if you get my drift. So you cannot run a presidency as a sole administrator. No matter how powerful you are, you still have to negotiate with people from other zones. And you know, a Igbo president now will hold a lot of political debt because you will need the goodwill of others to make you president. Do you get it? You don't have the numerical strength. You have to go negotiate with people in the north who has the voting strength in terms of the numbers. Igbos have only 5 states. So if you want to have an Igbo president in 2023, that person would be made to promise all manner of things in order, so he will more or less be a evil figurehead because the power brokers will have held him to all manner of commitment. So he'll be owing a lot of political debt. But what it will do on the surface is to calm frayed nerves, those who are agitating for self-determination like IPOB and Wildmasop. They will not have anything to campaign again.
So still on this 2023 presidency, we'll just move over to the Daily Sun. Daily Sun has it on its cover this morning, and it says 2023 presidency, Umahi challenges Tinubu, joins race, pledges to replicate achievements in Ebonyi if elected, recommends political solution to insecurity in Southeast. I'll consider contesting if APC zones ticket to region, that is a Kano. So still on
you see, I admire the courage of Governor Dave Umahi, but I think he should stop bringing God into this whole state. This really incoming president that even is surprised that he's like God has endorsed him to be the next president. That was how Tunde Baka said, no, was it Tunde Baka? No, Chris Okotie said, was it in 2015 or 2019 that God revealed to him that he's the next president of Nigeria. He never had up to 1 million votes. And yet they will all be saying that they had from God. You don't need God to join politics. It's your civic and political right. So if you join, you should be ready to either win or lose. But this idea of God asked me to do this, this is not in Sun. I think it's in your paper, the leadership that he said he had from God.
Yes,
that he should go and contest. But now Ebonyi is playing a prominent role in trying to champion the presidency.
Many people have the opinion that what if Tinubu had not declared, so he would have come at him.
No. People were expected to declare, but not this early in the year. Recall that Tinubu declared on January 10th, and then he is doing his own on 11th. So what happened is actually that there will be several other declarations. In fact, the governor of Taraba had already declared that he's coming to Senate, which is the arresting home. So, and that's the rough fight that will be fought among the members of the Senate and the set of 2023 that will be graduating from governorship to whatever. Almost all of them will want to go, and there are over 20 of them that will be serving out their second and final term. For instance, Kayode Fayemi will even be doing much earlier before 2023. He will serve out his tenure by October. So if he fails to get the ticket for president, that's in the line that he
Same
does.
thing with Yaya
He
Bello.
will want to go to.
Yaya Bello.
Yaya Bello, yes,
After,
is going to be before. It's also
before
going.
or after?
Yes,
it's going to place after.
no, it's going to be after in
that's
December or thereabout
Yes.
of 2023. Yaya Bello is just wasting his time and resources. So he cannot be the next president. Personal opinion, anyway. Not that it's not qualified, but on the basis of North-South rotational presidency, unless Kogi is no longer.
And he's drumming the argument that
Yes.
North Central has not had a shot at the presidency. But it as we are going on a break right now. When we come back, we'll continue with our newspaper review. Don't forget, we have 2 more months to go. Stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. This is Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television, and I've had with me in the studio since Jide Ojo. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
You joined the conversation on 2023 presidency. From politics, we're moving over to our sister publication, National Economy. National Economy says alternative electricity supply cost manufacturers 215 billion naira in 3 years. Alternative electricity supply cost manufacturers 215 billion in 3 years. Allocate 2,000 megawatts stranded electricity in the system to us. Man test neck. Allocate 2,000 megawatts stranded electricity in the system to us. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria test neck. That is on the National Economy this morning.
Okay.
We're still talking about electricity supply.
Last week on this program, I think we always wailing on this issue of electricity. You can see the headline of National Economy: alternative electricity supply. What is the alternative?
Generators.
We cannot survive as a nation running the economy on generators. That's all I can generator. Even the PHCN or discos, their offices have generators. That's no sign how reliable.
Pathetic one.
Somebody said he gave up on the solving the electricity problem of Nigeria. They went to this disco office and they saw them using generators to attend to their customer. So if you cannot give what you don't have now. Winifred, how do you give what you don't have? You don't have electricity, then you go and complain that
It happened to us when we didn't have electricity. When we went to never to go out of, in fact, we turned back when we saw that they were paying power.
They were also
Let's go back.
So in 3 years, estimated cost of running some manufacturing industries in Nigeria is 215 billion. That is more than the budget of some states. And that's just manufacturers. How many are they? How many manufacturing companies do you have in Nigeria? With many of them comatose. All the most of the warehouses have been bought over by pastors and turned to churches. So if the few existing manufacturing companies have spent 215 billion in 3 years to power their industries. And these are the ones that even may have opportunity of being connected to national grid. I know some companies from scratch, they don't even run, they are not connected to any public power supply. They have independent power supply for their company. All these high profile companies operating in Nigeria, they build that into the construction of the. I know an hotel, a five-star hotel in Abuja here that has its own independent power generation. Yes, I don't want to market them. It's not solar. They have their. You can do all manner of because it's more cost effective for you than that. Imagine a five-star hotel that is running on public power supply. It will destroy all their electrical appliances. You know, sometimes this thing just moves like strobe light. In my neck of the wood there, you see sometimes if you change your, maybe there are three phases and there's no light in one phase, you change to another phase. The voltage in that second phase may be higher than the first one, and this can spoil your appliances. So what I'm saying is that this is part of the rising cost of doing business in Nigeria. And every opportunity I've had, I've said we need to do something about the electricity. This administration, if he has solved the problem of electricity, it will have resolved by 50% the unemployment rate. You know the nexus. The nexus between electricity, public electricity supply, and unemployment is so that many micro, small, and medium enterprises are out of business because they don't have electricity.
Exactly. And even many foreign companies also packed up because
of the cost of running their almost all the radio and TV stations I know in Abuja here are running on diesel for most part. I was on a radio station yesterday as well. 5 minutes into the program, they took the offline. The GM has to say they should just put them on generator throughout the duration of the program, so that it's not like another 10 minutes they've restored light, you go and knock the gen. Then 30 minutes into the program they take. So we are losing a lot by having been unable to resolve the electricity challenge in this country. And if we have stable electricity supply, I always draw a parallel between two African countries, Nigeria and South Africa. South African population is still under 50 million. Nigerian population is 206 million estimated. Now, South Africa, from what I learned, South Africa has 40,000 megawatts of electricity. 40,000 megawatts of electricity. Nigeria, that has almost 4 sides of the population of South Africa, has less than 10,000 megawatts of electricity. Are you then surprised that more foreign direct investors will want to go to South Africa than coming to Nigeria? Dele Momodu said the reason why he took his business to Ghana some years back was because of stable electricity supply in Ghana. But when you talk of ease of doing business, you cannot have ease of doing business without resolving this conundrum called electricity supply. Because if we have stable electricity, did you know that we will also reduce our fuel consumption by almost 50%? Because many people who are consuming PMS and diesel, they do so because they have to use it to power their electricity generator. Private electricity generator, let's put it that way. Do you get it? So if you solve this energy problem, you will likely resolve unemployment problem, because like if was it here I said, if you go to a barbing salon as a man, if there is a public supply, you pay less than if they are going to use generator to attend to you. Do you get it? That's the disparity, because they know even with the increase in the tariff, of public electricity supply, you still spend less than if you are to run your home on generators. Because and it's going to get worse this year, because by the time they remove the subsidy,
Yes.
if the fuel price goes to like 285 or 300, just imagine how many liters of PMS you will need to power your generator. So most of the consumption that is alleged on PMS is not even by motorists. It's not by those who have cars or truck or whatever. It's largely by households and business concerns whose businesses they rely heavily on public on generators. So you want to do ice block making, you want to do welding, you want to do what's it called, cold store, like you want to be selling frozen food. If you don't have a standby generator, you run out of business with that, because those frozen food, when once they defrost, whether it's fish or chicken or turkey or whatever, they go bad. So it has the inability to resolve the electricity challenge has affected so many micro, small, and medium enterprises, and that's the engine room of every economy.
Wow, thank you so much. From the national economy, we're moving over to our last speaker on our main this morning, and that is this day. This day has a picture of our former head of state, Ernest Adekunle Oladege Shoniko, GCFRCDE, 1936 to 2022. He passed on yesterday. And the writer says many Nigerians, prominent Nigerians, including President Muhammad Buhari, has been paying glowing tributes to Ernest Shoneko. According to Buhari, he was a peacemaker, direct flag flown at half mast. Obasanjo declares he was Nigeria's unifying force. IBB, why appointed him head of interim government. Jonathan Lawan, Tinubu, of governors, others more pay tribute. That's all this newspaper.
Well, I join millions of Nigerians to pay tribute to the boardroom guru, Chief Ernest Adekunle Oladege Shoneko, DCFR. He played his own part, even though history history may not be very kind to him in terms of his acceptance to be interim president, because many Yorubas believe he betrayed the cause of Abiola by accepting. He's from the same Ogun state as Abiola. In fact, he's an Egba man like Abiola. And it is believed that if at all anybody will accept that interim government position, it should not have been an Egba man like himself. So many Yoruba frontline leaders did not take kindly to it. I mean, we are not speaking ill of the dead now, but I'm just saying that among the Yorubas, he wasn't seen as a patron. He was seen as more of a betrayer. But in terms of his technocracy, the fact that he was a boardroom guru, don't forget he was chairman of UAC, United African Company, former Royal Niger Company. He was the chairman of that company for many years, and that's where it was from there that he was invited to. I've not read the story as to why IBB appointed him head of interim government, but we know again from court decision that the administration he led was illegal and unconstitutional. So to that extent, there is even a divided opinion on whether to refer to him as a former president or former head of state. Because if the court says this contraction is unconstitutional, null and void, and of no effect, it's ultra bias.
And one thing too, he led his life after he left power in solitude.
Yeah, but even when he was in UAC, he's been a very gentle, perfect gentleman. someone that speak in measured tone, not loquacious, not talkative, and of course allow his action to do much more for him than his words. But again, I think it's mischievous for people to pay blowing tributes to every dead person. Whatever they do well, let's say. Whatever they didn't do well, let's also say. He may have his reasons for accepting to be interim president, but the court has said that was a misadventure, and that it's a contraption, it's null and void and ultra biased, and he still kept being referred to as former president, and he still gets invited to Council of State meetings. So again, he has played his own. One thing I cannot grudge him is that he's a peacemaker. He was a man of peace, he's an ambassador of peace, and just like his demeanor shows, he believes in united Nigeria, and always. I recall that he featured in a small carol that was taped about 2 years ago, where Yemi Oshiba, the vice president, participated. He was there. I think Oladipo was Jonathan among those who did. There was a carol coordinated by the presidency some 2-3 years ago, where he sang in that among the very top government officials in that carol. So that was his major last public outing that I know of. He may have also been attending the Council of State meeting, but he died at a ripe old age.
Yes.
85 is not. I pray to live up to that age. If I'm able to live up to 85, I will be ready to meet with my maker. Even the Bible says 70 years is the number of years, by reason of strength to live up to 80 years. So if I'm 85 and in good health, because that's more important, there are people who would have died many years before their final death. They are useless to themselves. Maybe they have debilitating sickness or disease. But the most important thing is that Ernest Adekunle Olayideji died at a full old age of 85. We pray for the repose of his soul. We pray that God will grant the family he left behind fortitude to bear the irreplaceable loss. Amen.
Well, this is it. We come to the end of today's program, Inside Nigeria. Don't forget, the program has been preaching live on Leadership Television, and I've had him in the studio. It's always a pleasure to have him. Mr. G.D. So, I look forward to having you next week.
Inshallah, may God spare our life and give us good.
That before that time, many entrants may have gone.
No, be rest assured that there will be. In every political contest, let me tell you, Winifred, in every political contest, like there will be contenders and pretenders. There will be many pretenders. People, money means road. People just want to make name. They will also throw their hearts in the ring. And there are quite a number of them who have done so previously. Kinsey Morgan has shown interest in being the president.
Former state president.
Even Saraki is gearing up, I think.
Former vice president.
Yes, Atiku. Many of them. By the time the primaries will hold, we possibly will be talking of hundreds of them. But many of them are pretenders, only very few contenders.
All right, this is what we call it a day, like I said earlier. Tomorrow is another day. Don't forget to keep it with us. Amen. Winning for you. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.